Today we'll be talking about the three most influential trends in the over-the-counter remedies market in the United States in 2014. While this first trend certainly isn't exclusive of the United States, it has had a tremendous impact on the competitive landscape, and that's the flurry of merger and acquisition activity among the pharmaceutical companies. Most notably, GlaxoSmithKline and Novartis announced in April that they'll be creating a consumer health joint venture. Then just 2 weeks later, Bayer announced that it'll be taking over Merck & Co.'s consumer division, beating out other companies like Reckitt Benckiser or RB. The latter was actually closed in October, making Bayer the largest OTC provider in the US with new competitive advantages in cough, cold, and allergy as it takes over the Claritin brand. And then while the GSK and Novartis joint venture will be the largest consumer health entity globally, it'll actually continue to trail Bayer and Johnson & Johnson in the US. That said, it will have new competitive advantages in categories like digestive remedies. So we're seeing a lot of movement in the competitive landscape in 2014. The second most influential trend has to do with the success of recovering and relaunched brands, and that actually leading to a decline in private label sales in the OTC market. So companies like Johnson & Johnson and Novartis have had a series of manufacturing issues over the past several years, but both have recovered quite well since 2013, and that's continued into 2014. They're really trying to make a push to get their primary brands like Johnson & Johnson's Tylenol and Novartis's Excedrin back to pre-recall levels. And as consumers move back to these branded products, it's led to a decline in sales of private label in some categories, specifically digestive remedies and analgesics. And that ultimately has led to a declining share of private label in the OTC market in 2014, something we haven't seen in over a decade. The last trend I wanted to talk about was the success of OTC switches in 2014. In particular, Nasacort 24-hour was launched in February, and Nexium 24-hour was launched in May, and both have been very successful. Preliminary Euromonitor international data puts sales of Nasacort at about 115 million in 2014, and Nexium of over 170 million. And ultimately, both of these have really been able to breathe life into their OTC categories, which have been pretty sluggish recently, including nasal sprays and proton pump inhibitors.